For Twitch, doing the stuff and things. We are live on the Twitch. Or so I think. I'm apparently pretty bad at this still. Alright, since we have no viewers, which is accurate. What happens when you have like one or two people who might tune in and then you're 10 minutes late? One or two people might tune in.
They're gonna fuck the show. I'm out.
See if we can get some bots to come watch us tonight. Grand Central Station of Hot Taken. That's what tonight's gonna be.
Damn right.
Grand Central Station of Hot Taken. We gonna do it right. I think this is why other people who are good at this like just like throw out a bunch of like those leads where they're like going live, and then it's like showing up at a concert. You're like, hey, all right, so I showed up at the concert. Yeah. It was like doors at 6, show at 8, it's 9. All right, here they go.
The way it goes.
Get the countdown up. Get some sweet hold music going. Everybody wins.
Yeah, gotta download those elevator tracks.
The sweet, sweet elevator tracks. My favorites. Oop. Really? Whatever. So I guess that's not happening today. Bum, 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 bum. Well, if you've tuned in, we're just waiting for Dizzard to get back from a personal matter he was required to attend to with immediacy. Hopefully it was nothing serious. Just trying to build suspense at this point.
That means right away.
Just building some suspense. Everything's fine. See, here he is. He's back.
Some of them is.
With a flag or a jacket or something. And a sweet shirt. Hooray.
Oh, I was muted. I was saying this is my favorite Marvel shirt now.
I mean, why wouldn't
I
it
love
be?
this thing. Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong. Let me get the posted places. Okay. And here we are live.
We are. Yeah, live things are happening. My room's a mess. I pulled out my magic cards last weekend. Whoopsie.
Why?
I don't know. Walk down memory lane. Just like see what's up.
Thinking about that type 1 and 2 or whatever.
Yeah, kind of. I don't have like any of those. I don't have much in terms of type 1, but I do have some really old commander decks. And just like looking at like new commander decks versus what I was playing like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just like kind of reviewing what successful games do and look like. It's kind of what it is.
What's that?
Just what successful games do and what they look like.
Sounds like
a game like Magic, where it's like it's been around for so long, like to varying degrees of success. You know, like sometimes it gets more popular, less popular. Sometimes there's a game that's like, this game's nipping on its heels, and then all of a sudden that game's gone and Magic's still there. Just like, hey, I still exist. People still play me.
I still exist. I'm still here.
Oh, baby. Hey, Rich. Man, this is some awesome radio silence.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Not now, Chief. He's in the zone.
I'm getting it on Reddit and all
Oh,
the places, man.
Posting it in the places.
All right. What's up, Rich Mid? How you doing, man? All right. I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
I reckon.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I'm ready.
Make sure my hair's right.
All right.
Same.
Also same. I got the goatee going though. I shaved the sides off because
did?
it was
You
looking
trimmed
so
way
bad.
down.
But I got the villainous goatee going, so I can live with it.
Boo, grow it
All
out
right.
in the fall.
It doesn't grow on the sides though. Like it's so bad.
Gotta let it ride. Gotta let it ride.
We can't all have magnificent beards, Joey.
It's true.
Sure you can.
I can have the long goatee though, and then like when I get to a point, I'll put beads and shit in it.
Oh, are you gonna
I mean,
do
sure.
like a single or double? Are you a single or
Uh,
double big goatee guy, or do
I'll
you go
go
for the
double.
triple and braid?
The triple.
Ooh, let's go triple braid. Let's do it. Triple braid. That seems like my style, man. But no, it's been hectic, man, because like we're getting ready to leave. So
Right. That's big
Crazy.
news. That's good times.
yeah. All right, let's go ahead and kick off the show. Sam, you have the power.
I have the
Wait, I have the power.
Oh, you have the power.
I have the power.
Joke's on you.
Boom.
All right. You've been waiting on me this whole time. All right. We got new buttons now. I forgot about that. Yeah. All right. Hitting the buttons.
Demo.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Maximum effort.
In this war, there's no surrender.
You don't like a fair fight. He's out of line, but he's right.
Who the hell is Bucky? I think you're wrong. Which part? All of it.
I think you're the only superhero in the world.
Touche.
Welcome to the Rogue Agents podcast, your source for hilarity and nonsensory. We are your hosts, Dizzard, Joey,
Occasionally
and
some
Sam.
MC-pery.
That's occasionally some more often than if not, you know, like we said we're going to talk about other games and stuff like that, and I don't think we've done it since.
Reference the goalposts and reference points. That's all we need.
Yeah. It's just, I guess it gives us like the frame if like we ever don't feel like talking about MCP, we can just like jump to a side step real quick, and then we just. But it's like we all play MCP primarily. I feel like, yeah. How have you guys been? It feels like it's been a while, but my time has been going by incredibly slow lately due to everything going on. So, yeah, how you guys been?
Joey, you gonna take
Hanging
that?
in there.
Yeah, go for
Yeah,
it.
man. Hanging in there. Been super busy. A lot of traveling. Got 2 more trips the end of this year, and then I'll be able to coast for a little bit until next year. So it's been good though.
All right. I've been parenting, so like time just flies by. It's all true.
Why you do that?
I got no choice. I mean, I guess I do.
Yes, you
but-
do. Totally have a choice. Totally have a choice.
I do. I make them regularly. I'm here.
That's true. That is true. All right.
Well,
I guess for me. Oh, go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead. You actually have stuff.
what have you been playing?
No,
Have
you
had any
said
time?
you were
I
gonna do
haven't,
stuff.
I haven't had any time to play. I was gonna do what? What am I gonna do?
I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know what you're doing.
I don't know what I'm doing.
What's
I don't know
Joey
what I'm
doing?
either.
Joey's got to be playing some games. You're
Just hanging
you
out.
travel. Nice. All right. Well, here we are.
I've played a few. Nowhere near as many as I'd like lately, but I've been playing a few. Trying to get some. Got some more Spider Foes games under my belt. That's been pretty fun. Had a nice little Carnage episode that ended the game in the top of round 2.
Nice.
That's always a blast.
He tends to
Yeah.
do that or disappear at the top of round 2.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. One extreme or the other usually. But no, it was fun because that was, I think, no, actually, that was my first time playing him, like
Nice.
with him on my team. So that was pretty cool.
Would you consider running the red room with him?
The Red Room.
Yeah, red
Not
room
familiar with
training.
that one.
Red room training gives him stealth.
Oh, I did not. I'm going to though.
Take that. There's
I like
your tech.
Yeah.
Sweet
Noted.
carnage tech.
Carnage rules.
Carnage stealth.
Yep. Some sweet
Now he can
timelines
get
tech
places. That's what you want.
Okay,
What you
Cable.
want.
for you. Yeah. Now you have to play your Mark for
Mark
Death.
for
on
Death?
him.
I'm okay with that. They were all reading this at the same time.
Wow, quick question.
Quick
That's
question
not a
from
quick
Rich.
question at all.
Did you see the results from WTC? It's obviously the first in-person event that had both UK/EU meta and the US meta. How do you think they differ? I personally haven't analyzed it to really answer this to the best of my ability. But I think
very
from what
briefly.
I remember and what I have looked at, it's very much kind of what you'd expect. Like Bills in every single team. Avengers was very well represented. X-Men was very well represented. Guardians very well represented. I think the big stuff you would expect is there, and I don't really think it makes much of a difference between the metas, seeing as Bill was in every single list. It's just very much like I don't really know how else to say it other than that. Yeah, I think the global meta really is like very, very similar, which is really weird because when you look at stuff like the Weekender, right, and you look at stuff like LVO or Second Wind for that matter, the lists at Second Wind and the Weekender, which were what, probably 2, maybe 3 weeks apart. I don't really remember off the top of my head. But vastly different. Like Inhumans Web Warriors in the finals for the Weekender and Second Wind had, what was it? I'm drawing a blank. But it wasn't that.
Yeah, Hellfire Club.
Good radio. Hellfire Club and
It wasn't that
Hellfire Club and it was Curtis against somebody else. What?
Guardians.
God, I'm
Guardians.
terrible at this. Guardians,
Zach playing
which
Guardians.
is two completely. Yeah, that's right. Two different themes. So I think like that's a better meta difference than WTC because WTC it seems like everybody was kind of on the same page and brought very similar things from what I could tell.
I don't remember off the top of my head whether or not there was any sort of Hellfire Club representation at the York Weekender, but I mean, I'm pretty sure all of that was pretty closely represented. You know, like there were still Guardians that made it. Like there's plenty of worlds where Guardians winds up on that final table and it doesn't look so different. I'm not sure like what the real material difference is between the US and EU meta is. I mean, I know when I've played other games, I think that there's the stereotype that Americans are just like, we're just going to play the best stuff and just jam it down your throats because we're America. Rah! And then the Euro meta is a little bit more finesse oriented with like silver bullets and little, you know, bits of tech for this and that. So if like that's the kind of difference that we're talking about, I don't know how that if that completely applies the same to this. I mean, I know at least one prominent American team didn't bring a Cosmic Ghost Rider, so I mean that says something about, you know, the stereotypes. But I don't know. I think that good players did well. That's what I saw. I saw a lot of good players doing well, and I saw a lot of skew results in affiliations, which means that people picked good matchups in a lot of cases. Like the Black Order win rate was absolutely astonishingly amazing, and like they've definitely gotten better in the standard game. But at the same time, like when you can pick their positive matchups, like you have a much better chance of picking that up. So I don't know. I didn't notice a huge difference personally. I thought that there was a lot of good lists and a lot of good players. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. I guess moving on, we have a new patron, Mike Essie. Thank you for supporting the show and becoming a patron of the Rogue Agents. You are a true hero. If you'd like to support the show and this fashion, the Patreon link will be in the description. Feel free if you would like to. Again, we are revamping the Patreon stuff, and yeah, so far it's going pretty good. So yeah. I guess we can move into what you drinking, Sam.
We got
passed that part.
No, we didn't. We just kind of glossed over it tonight. We have a White Russian that I carried into the show, and I've got a sweet baby Jesus to drink tonight.
Good.
Good old peanut butter.
I'm terrible, but actually good at the same time because I'm actually not drinking tonight. I have
Good for you.
a little. Yeah. I didn't think. I've been too busy. I guess the news for me is I got my orders finally, and leaving Virginia here probably the next couple days. So
Get out of town.
exciting.
Quite literally.
Get out of town. Yes. Yeah, we're gonna make a little road trip. We're gonna make a little road trip out of it. So it'll be fun.
Heck yeah.
Don't know when we'll get there, but we're gonna take our time and go and have a wonderful time.
It's about the journey.
It's about the journey. And the journey. But I officially start my terminal leave from the military today.
That sounds so serious.
So it is. It's terminal. Like Joey can attest to this. The day that you actually officially start your terminal leave, you're just like
Glorious.
Yeah.
So now my next big milestone is the 24th of January when I'm officially out. Like that's the next big one.
Nice.
Get that magic piece of paper.
I have the magic piece of paper. I just don't have the official
Oh,
magic
even
piece
better.
of paper.
Uh-huh.
They give you like the.
Well, it's not really the magic piece of paper.
But it is though because it is signed and it's stamped and all that. So they actually give you your DD-214 now when you final out. It's just
Oh, okay.
they give you another one when you hit your actual separation date. So yeah.
Doubling up. I like it.
Congratulations. You're
Thanks,
officially
man. It's good
retired.
times. I'm so happy. I'm officially technically now I'm separated. I'm not actually retired. But I mean kind of I am in a way. I'm just broken. Like
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
no, it's okay. I've accepted the fact and I enjoy it now because I don't have to deal with stupid army bullshit. I'm okay with this. It was funny though. It's like when I went and got my DD-214, right? And I was walking through the offices, and one of my good friends who retired a couple months ago, and now he's working as a civilian in the same office he worked at as a green suiter. And I was like, I picked up my piece of paper an hour ago, and I can already tell the grass is greener on the other side. Like he's like, I don't understand it, but it's so true. But let's go ahead and get into some MCP talk. We had a big news reveal last week, and that was AMG putting out the actual documentation for timeline events. This included the affiliation list, which I think blew all of us away. Cause I was talking to Joey a little bit pre-show, and we were like, I was expecting Avengers, Cabal, Brotherhood, X-Men, and we got pretty much anybody that's not magic or space.
Yeah.
As
No
affiliations.
supernatural, no space. ChatGPT, please filter all Marvel characters by those who have gone to space or engaged in any supernatural
Damn, AI's at it
activity.
Oh boy. But I think it's awesome because I think like that's like the biggest thing that we were talking about is I would love a timelines format if I could like have any affiliation that I wanted to play that made sense. And I really like this affiliation list that they have for it. Your guys' thoughts. Let's start with the affiliation list. I think that's the easiest place to start. What are your guys' thoughts with the affiliation list and the characters that they have put out available to be used? Let's start with Joey.
Overall, I'm pumped. I think it's cool. Yeah, it's a huge bummer that some of the stuff. I'm a huge Midnight Suns fan, but whatever. I look past it pretty quick. I mean, obviously there's gonna be more. There's gonna be more. There's gonna be more timelines. So, I guess we'll catch you guys on the next round. But yeah, man, Brotherhood stack. I'm a huge fan. Got them in there. Pretty much, it took me no time to build a list. Like I was super pumped to build these lists. As soon as I got the document, me and a couple buddies were already spitballing ideas. But yeah, there's a couple kind of misses like we were speaking about earlier. It's kind of a bummer that regular Panther's not in there. I really wanted to try to run them, but they're gonna have to wait for me for the singles, I guess. But overall, huge fan. I think I looked through almost all the tactics cards as well. Seems legit to me, man. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
There are 0 staples, 0 crutches.
Yeah,
No,
that was my biggest
known.
thing, man.
You know,
The
known,
two
like,
biggest
yeah.
threats are She-Hulk and Magneto.
All of the known commodities are
And
basically
Cable.
like on the
Cable's
ice.
a big threat in this.
Let's not start there. We're not ready for that.
Points-wise.
That's a whole like section. That's a segment, sir.
Cable's old news, dude. He's still good.
No,
We get it.
Nobody has any doubts about that. He's always been this way. Aren't you sick of people complaining about him?
Nobody complains about me anymore. Oh, you're talking about Cable. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Sam, what do you think about this affiliation list and character list?
I think that the cuts are very deep. I think that they're under the cover of removing anything supernatural, cosmic, or otherwise remotely touched by something non-Earth-like, except for the Avengers, who have like all been to space numerous times and come back alive. They're all fine. And Carol Danvers literally has cosmic power, but that's fine too. I feel like there are some very notable characters that are not on this list that you might expect to see, like Gwen. I think that one hurts on multiple levels, but I think that limiting diceless control was definitely a factor in what they were looking at with this list. Now, like barring incoming characters that I know very little about, other than like maybe I saw that preview like 6 months ago and like, okay, like, well, there's Professor X, but I don't remember what all is on his card, or like if they even actually showed the cards, or if it was just a sculpt at this point. Like, I'm just I don't know. So I think that there's a lot of new stuff on this list, which I think is good for driving the game forward. I think that the counterpoint to that is that, I mean, I sorted my cards into 2 different piles on Friday night and was like, all right, like these are the cards that are in timelines and these are the cards that are not. So there is definitely quite a lot that is not welcome in this timeline. A lot of which are characters that I thoroughly enjoy. And themes that I thoroughly enjoy, because Marvel Cosmic stuff is like one of the main things that I enjoy about the Marvel Universe. And the Hulk, too. But I also feel like you look at this character list and there are no staples and there are no known crutches. And I think that that is ultimately very good and healthy for a competitive game. That this is going to make people innovate and explore and do some interesting things. And I'm not saying it's not going to get busted. I just say that when I look at this looks like some boomer MCP from back in the golden days of staring each other down about the, whatever's happened at the center line and how many activations you have versus how many activations I have versus how many shots we want fired into that middle ground. So I think that it's a deep enough character list to build some really cool rosters. It is also a very shallow character list when you're looking for your favorites or you're looking for known power pieces in Crisis Protocol. And in TED Talk, like that's like pretty much like all my thoughts on timelines to date. I didn't mean to download like that, but that's how it went.
That's fair. I guess for me, I actually really love this character and affiliation list, mostly because I have everything that I want. But I'm
You're so selfish now.
Like, I know, I really do, but I don't know how else to say
Works
it.
for me.
Like it works for me, right? I love this format. X-Forces got everything that they have, and they're getting plus some because they're getting Bishop too.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know how else to say it other than being like, I got everything I want out of this. Like, I can play characters that I have, characters that I want. I don't have to go buy anything other than the Bishop box when he comes out. I like being an X-Force player feels real good right now. So I think it's super interesting. Some of the comments that I see across saying that this is a forcing people to play players that they don't want. I don't really necessarily think that's true. Because no. Okay, I know.
Like what?
I'm way bad to like preface this, but it's like I still think this is a very wide list of characters to choose from. You have Avengers, you have Cabal, you have Spider Foes, you can play Sentinels.
You have a lot of new looks.
Yes,
there's a lot of new looks on existing things, and I think that there's something to that as well. That this is a very fresh format. It's a very fresh format for MCP. It's a very fresh character list. Like there's not a lot of stuff that dates back very far, which is good because it means it's accessible. It is not great because it means that like things that you may already really like a whole lot aren't.
What is the oldest character on this list? I think it's Shuri Okoye, isn't it? Is Shuri Okoye the oldest characters on this list?
That sounds about right.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because you don't have old Black Widow, you don't have old Iron
the
Man.
core is all just straight side graded to Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yeah. Yeah, so you had nothing from the original core, right? Yeah. And then the next box after that would have been MODOK and Hulk, which you don't have.
No, we have new MODOK.
And then Shuri and
but no
Okoye.
Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah, Shuri and Okoye are the oldest characters in this.
They're both good. I mean,
They're
there's a it's weird how losing Rocket, Wong like you lost Rocket, you lost Wong, you lost Bullseye. It's amazing how tight the two threat area feels all of a sudden.
Losing Bullseye is a little weird to me. I don't really see why he wasn't.
I think it's because
included
Kingpin
in
is
this
gone.
because-
It's like the Punisher Max run. I think that what they did with this timeline, right? So from a thematic perspective, I think what they like, whether they intended to do this or not, it's like they cut out the Punisher Max series, where Punisher is like the standalone lone gunman. If he has any ties, they're kind of closer to Shield than they are like Nick Fury's Shield than they are to like anybody else. And then it's Kingpin and Bullseye, and a real bad Elektra. That's like by cutting Bullseye out and Kingpin out, you like take that whole like Punisher Max, and then you take the Punisher that's a defender and slot him in there.
That's fair.
So whatever.
Fair enough.
It's an explanation.
Fair enough. I guess the only other big thing is because we had the interview with Schick and Ben that pretty much laid out everything that's here in this document.
No, it's good to see it codified.
And I think
like where it's like this
yes,
we got the specifics much earlier than I expected, which is also awesome.
Yeah, I was not expecting that at all.
I think what I the big clear point that I see here is roster by round. Like 1, 2, 3 is rounds 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 again 4, 4, 5, 6.
And then 3,
which
2,
I'm pretty
1.
sure they
And
said
3,
that.
2, 1.
I didn't actually catch that part.
Yeah. Finals is 3, 2, 1. So I feel like
cuts,
number 2. So I have like a hot take on roster theory, which I think is like you want your absolute best to be number 1. That should like just lead with your best foot. And then I think you want your number 2 roster to be the one that's like your like skill. Like this is like I learned how to play this. And then your number 3 roster should be the one that like plays a really specific game. That's my plan. We'll see if I can succeed at it. Because so far all I've started is just like characters. I'm just like I want to play with this guy, so I'm going to kind of build the entire roster around them being in it.
Completely fair. I think the other interesting thing is it basically says that you must have 32 people, at least. Which is neat. Now I've been talking with Omnis about this. I'm sure, like I really love this character list in like a single list format for like easeability at like a local game store. Like I really want to run an event and play in an event that is doing this timeline with just a single roster.
Oh, like having the restrictions, but you pick one roster, you mean?
Yeah, where you only play with one roster with the tournament.
I
wanted to try this format and just like a single day event at a local, just to see how it plays out. Bring 3 rosters, you play 1, 2, 3 rounds. To see how it works.
I mean, I'd be down for that too.
I mean, playing this as...
I love this character list, man. Like X-Force looks so freaking good in this.
You have, like no predators. I mean,
like X-Force is X-Force might be the apex predator in this like character list, which is funny.
I mean,
and they get a new card. They get a new tactic card and bishop based off of this list. They're getting a tactic card that's X-Force affiliated, which by God, I fucking hope it's a halfway decent card.
All right, so
like, give me something that's not dirty work.
We got Gush with a slight critique. Let's get a little bit of focus and let's say like hot takes. What's your one big takeaway? It sounds like Dizzard is just in love. Is that your one big takeaway?
I'm excited for
from
this. I love it. I love
however
it.
it goes.
And to be
Okay.
fair, it's not just the X Force. It's like I think it's a really cool format. We've talked about this before, where I thought the format was cool. I think it's a neat idea, and I think the biggest hot take that I have though is, man, am I tired of community members like just shitting on it and
Yep.
don't
I was
rain on
just gonna
other
say
people's
that.
parade. Like, don't rain on other people's parades. Like, it's so fucked up. It really is, in my opinion. Like, if someone enjoys this and you just say like, well, it's dumb. like cool conversation, man.
Nice. That
Cool,
went really
cool
far.
conversation.
That went really far.
Yeah.
We really both grew from
All
this
right, I'm done.
conversation.
That's me. That's me.
All right, so on the what's the flip side of that coin, right? So like, what's your biggest concern? So what your biggest excitement is that we've got a great list of balanced, curated characters. It's got everything that you want to play baked into it. So you get to do everything that you want to do, and you're getting this, debatably very balanced set of characters that's all kind of within the current design philosophy of the game and a pretty modern release schedule. What's your biggest, fear or concern?
Where am I going to play it? How am I going to get reps? How am I going to get practice playing in this format? If this is for 32 players or more, am I just going to go to talk to my local game store and set up an event where I'm bringing 3 lists like Joey talked about and play a Swiss of 3 rounds and play a different list? That's not really testing the format, in my opinion, because you're not having to go into somebody else under the same restrictions as you, unless the whole entire tournament's doing that. And at that limit, it's just playing a single list 3 times. There's no like cycling back around and all that. So it's like, how do you practice this format? You really don't. How do you
I think you do.
where are you going to play it right now?
I mean, I think you just
Okay.
you just agree to do that. I think that's what you do.
I mean,
Yeah,
you do, but
that's
it's
what I
still
was saying is you get the whole
it's
tournament
still
to
not
do that.
it's still not the same though. And there's so much pushback right now that I'm seeing that I doubt you're going to have a lot of LGSs that the community is going to say, yeah, let's do this. I've just seen too much pushback to see like the community. It's gonna be like battle rounds where it's DOA, because there's so much community pushback on it, and people aren't letting. This goes back to my previous comment. People aren't giving it the room to breathe and giving it a chance.
The way things remain.
But it's very much like you can practice it by playing 3 rounds of a different list each time. I just don't think that's really. Because you're not playing 9 rounds, you're not playing 6 rounds, you're still playing 3 rounds, and you might as well be playing 3 different lists. Like, yes, it's somewhat a practice to like understand it, but it's not a true representation of a rep of running an event similar to it. It's the best you're gonna get though. Then the second thing is, as of right now, Adepticon is the only place this is gonna be, and I don't know if anybody else is trying to run it at their events. I've seen a lot of people who run major events are like, yeah, we ain't touching this, not right now. So it's very much very much so that like we're gonna play this once a year at Adepticon, and that's the only place it gets played. Then the format's gonna die. Like, let's be completely real and honest. If it's only Adepticon and it's AMG's little baby and they coddle it and they set it up and they just do it every single year and only 10 people show up, then you can't run it because it says you need 32 people.
Yeah.
Like,
So, but you can build your rosters off this character list,
sure,
and then
absolutely.
you're always getting practice. Like, just with
No, that's
with
fine.
the
But
game.
where are you gonna play it? Like, again, Adepticon is the only place as of right now where this is gonna get ran, and I haven't seen any talks of any other con saying I want to run this, and that's my big worry for it. Is it's not gonna be there's too much community pushback, which please just stop it. Like, let people have their fun. There's too much of people. There's too much people like just not like being interested enough in it to try it out to make it like actually succeed. In my honest opinion, I would love to see
feel
it
like
succeed.
too, though, a lot of people
but I
are
have
gonna
doubts.
wait till Adepticon to see how it plays out at Adepticon, and then they're might adapt it, depending on how
Maybe.
well it does. Maybe that's kind of
Maybe.
the vibe I got from it. Hopefully that's the case, because I'm like I said, I want to play it. I'm like really trying to figure out my schedule to get to Adepticon just to play it. I haven't never
Well, I
been
guess-
to an Adepticon.
I guess the best way to like put my feelings towards it is I'm hopefully pessimistic, where I would love for this format to take off and be a thing, but I have a lot of doubts within like from the talks that I've seen amongst the community.
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause
that's
there's a lot of them.
those are just voices. I like.
Right.
I would venture to bet that the majority of people who have played Marvel Crisis Protocol since its release aren't even aware that timelines as a new tournament format even exists.
Probably not. It's only it's gonna be only the
Yep.
it's gonna be the Discord people because they're the only
Yeah.
ones that like look at this stuff, and then you have the few people. I wanna let's hit Rich this thing right here. I like the concept of this. One of my biggest issues that don't affect me directly is this will force a lot of players to buy new characters that they maybe don't want. We have plenty of events that are 32 plus players here in the UK, a lot of which are held at local game stores. But I know the general mood of AMG's only official competitive event, stopping people playing their favorite lists, is not good. Do you think TTS could be a home for this? I really don't know if TTS could be the home for this. I think it's a good avenue to try and do it, but I feel like it's a lot of logistics to make sure people are minding their Q's and P's and doing the right thing to
People would
actually
police
like
themselves, yeah, it'd be
verify.
fine.
Yeah, like because we've tried that in the past with like TTS leagues, like quite a few seasons ago, where it's like, hey, police yourselves, put the rosters in correctly, and then it was like, it was a ridiculous number. It's like at least 25% of the rosters had some sort of like something was wrong with it, and it was not a legal roster. When we were like, hey, just put your list in, we just need lists. So it's hard to say on TTS on the grand scale it is that people are going to police themselves, and are you going to have the logistics to actually be able to go in and monitor if you're not going to have people police themselves? So it's very interesting.
TTS would be a great place for this to be, but it would have to be done like on really small, on a much smaller scale than like the
Yeah.
TTS leagues that run now are.
Yeah, like start with 32 people and
Yeah,
lock
like,
it at 32
Yep,
people.
You have to just pot it out,
Right.
and that's gonna like only go so far because people are just gonna like whenever you have a league that runs 6 to 10 weeks, like things are just gonna happen for people, and so when you block things out like that, you're gonna have people that just drop, and now you've got weird, like basically
Mhm.
brackets. So I don't. It has all the same problems as anything else, but like an online arena is a great place for a timelines like tournament.
Yeah, because you have access to every single character. You have access to every single character.
It's still
This
not
is
the
something
same
that we were
practice,
talking
though.
about pre-show. Yeah, we were talking about like pre-show too. Was like I don't have the issue that I see where it's like, oh, I have to buy new models now. It's like I have literally everything that I want to play, but that's not a me issue now, and I'm completely jaded by that thought process of I have to buy models now because I just buy Marvel models because I like Marvel and I like this game. And you guys are pretty much the same. Like we're kind of jaded to that aspect of it, in my opinion. I'm probably more jaded because I didn't even think of it, and you guys had. But it's definitely a concern. It's definitely like people are gonna have to go out and like if they didn't have the core, if they had no intention of buying the new core box and they were just gonna go buy the new ruler pack, then it's like, well, now they have to go buy the new core box if they want 12
mutants. You can play
if you want
you can basically
12
just play
out of the
mutants.
50 something characters,
Yeah.
you're gonna go buy the new
and,
core
and good
box.
ones. Like a lot of them are leaders.
Yeah, and they're good. So it's like I can see that aspect of it absolutely. In hindsight, absolutely. Like, and I say absolutely a lot, but I do think, Rich, that
Absolutely.
TTS is definitely a good home for it. It's just doing it right and making sure that you have the logistics set, and then the people that are going to go through it the entire way to actually test the format. And that's where people are going to be able to get their practice for it. If this is going to be AMG's premier competitive event, then the people need to do that.
I agree.
I think too. Another thing I was going to say about like
Absolutely.
because you were saying about the buying models type of thing. I feel like the same argument, or that was the same like excuse that people were crying out about before. Was like, oh, I have to buy X model just to be competitive. It's like
Yep.
to me, that's the same concept as this. But this is just this one makes you think more. At least, I mean, at least it doesn't. It's not as straight in
love
your
the-
face. But
I love building lists, and this format is literally about building lists.
Yep.
That's what I love about like AMG's games between Shatterpoint and MCP is they give you really good tools to build lists. As far as these two games go, Rich said, "Where'd it go? I saw it. I think that's the key. Oh, it was Vexium. The interesting part of the format is that it is completely impossible for AMG to test effectively. I think that's a very valid point. Like, how are they going to test this in house or with a Adepticon is the testing platform? So there could be some crazy builds in there. Unfortunately, they seem to have gone very safe in terms of power level. Excuse me, Vexium, have you seen Cable? Man, it's not gonna get old for me. I'm sorry, but no, I do agree. I do think that when you look at the bigger scheme of it, it's very hard to imagine AMG was able to test this format very effectively. And there's going to be bugs in it, and they're going to come out at Adepticon. And then if we take AMG's track record of what's been happening over the past year, I think they will address what the issues before the next big one.
I mean, the next big one's going to be probably a completely different timeline, right? Like if it's just Adepticon to Adepticon, right? Because like you said, there's only one of these on the books at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I'm curious about from here is, does this document continue to be curated, right? Like, is this this is what's legal for the coming Adepticon Timelines event, and then as more releases happen throughout the year, they'll get added to it, or if this is like literally this is the Timelines 2024. Timelines 2025 will be released, at the end of 2025, and that'll have everything for into 2024, and that'll have everything for next year. So I'm curious if it gets treated like the current affiliation list, where we get models added as they're released, or if this is going to be like this is what you have for the year for timelines. I think that's going to be pretty impactful on it. Well, whatever adoption it might get.
Let's see,
because everybody likes to play with new stuff.
Look at the list.
And this seems to only
Brotherhood
carry through January. Right, you got Professor X.
Brotherhood got Shadow King.
Yep.
Brotherhood got Shadow King. You got Professor X. You got Bishop. You got Nightcrawler. Did you get Shadowcat?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's there too.
So we got that. And we have the Rivals panel box for Killmonger and Black Panther.
Yeah.
Panther.
But we don't have any of those new spider foes.
Yep. No new foes on the list. There's definitely going to be new foes in 2024.
Yeah.
Early next year, right?
That's the plan, yeah. I mean, I thought they might even be out by Adepticon, but maybe not.
The Vexium says the fact that they are unreleased models on the list would imply that this is just a list. Normally, I would agree with that, but it's also like the next releases are probably going to be Bishop and Nightcrawler and Professor X and Shadow King and Iceman and Kitty. But it could also just be very plausible that this is just a list, which I guess that it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, which
I would hate. I want the new foes, man. I want them.
Like X-Men's a big list. Brotherhood's a big list. Like, I guess the Hydra and Cabal, especially if you combine them, is a really big list. There's definitely some pretty large affiliations that are going on, and some smaller ones. So like maybe that's part of the point. It's like these are the main character, like the main players, and then some of these are like the side lights. But I hope that it gets curation throughout the year. Yeah. Like there are definitely. So I do want to talk about kind of some omissions from the format at some point. Joey, did you want to share anything that was like biggest excitement or biggest concern?
I don't know. I gotta say, excitement is just kind of mirroring what Dizzard said, man. I'm kind of pumped on everything. Everything that I've looked at so far seems sweet to me. And then also mirroring is the negative pushback, but also too, I don't know where you're gonna play it either. Like you said, practicing I feel like is gonna be a major thing. Because me, like for example, I don't like TTS, so what am I gonna do? I just got to kind of link up with people to do it. But I don't.
Good.
Go ahead.
I was feeding into what Rich said.
I didn't really have anything that's like vexing.
We got some delay tonight. So one of the things that Rich said is like getting a smaller group that's committed, right? And like we'll play these games. I think is one way to get that practice. That's going to be hard, obviously. The other side is that I think that you can just commit to doing this, and if you get some people locally to do it with you, I think that just committing to playing these games isn't going to make you a worse MCP player. Like, number one, you might have some like rough games into some you know, like some of the more powerful pieces by other people. But in theory, like you're going to be hopefully cultivating your games against, you know, the best players that you can muster around you. And even if they're like, you know, on board with this, or if they're playing their other stuff. And I mean, to some, you're not going to get like the specific practice, but it's still the game, right? You're just working on fundamentals. And this looks a lot like, so I've made this reference online in a couple of places a couple of times, but basically this looks a lot like Type 2 versus Type 1 Magic to me, where basically at some point the game of Magic had to get shuffled up into basically like, well, this is all the old really busted stuff, and now this is a more balanced competitive format that we're going to make, you know, kind of going forward. And I think that Timelines has a lot of echoes of that. It also kind of has echoes of like the hyperspace format that came out for X-Wing after 2.0's release. And I think that with this kind of limitation on what you're able to bring to the table, there's definitely going to be some things that crop up that might be kind of unexpected. But the overall power level is typically kind of ratcheted down from the kind of explosive Type 1 game. And I think that the backlash that you see in the community is people, I mean, I'm one of them, like the big splashy plays with the big stuff, doing major things. It's part of why Crisis Protocol is a fun game that like grabs your attention when you see it from across the room. It's like, wait, you just threw that building and like you did this, like it's not the big splashy play that's like, all right, I just eyes on the prize and like come back and like huddle with my friends. Like that's not a big splashy play. That's a a good maybe like competitive play in a lot of situations, but that's not like what brought you to the game. My point is that the overall power level, the like card combo element of the game kind of gets tuned down, and now we have to go back to playing this game that's more like how the designers, I think, originally kind of thought of this game, how the game was early on, capturing like the best elements of what the game was early on, with taking a lot of the best elements of their current, approach to design and some new characters. So I think we're going to see new characters for what that's worth. But I also think that like this general kind of flattening of the power curve here, like we got the character update, but like in my mind, kind of going back to like, hey, do we use this list of characters for like normal one-day events with like single rosters, is I think that you've got an element of like, this is, at least in theory, or at least in my hopes and dreams, a more balanced set of characters. So, I mean, just to continue the soapbox here a little bit, if you're someone who is unhappy with certain characters being in the game, then I think you need to lean into this timelines list for a lot of things. And if you're someone who is complaining about the absence of some of those power pieces on this, I think you need to take a look in the mirror and decide if you like playing power pieces or if you want to get better at just playing like the game of MCP, which is something that I, not to like toot my own horn, but just to kind of share my personal journey in this. Coming from Black Order at kind of the height of its power, that was something that I kind of had to do personally to continue my enjoyment of the game, because when what I played got kind of neutered into oblivion for a time, I had to figure out how to play other stuff in this game, which basically meant I had to learn how to play the game instead of how to play with very powerful pieces in that game. But like just fundamental practice is a huge thing of what I think that this can do for you as a player, and why I think that like you should look at this timelines list as your starting point for like what you want to build for rosters. And I honestly think that you should still be thinking about them in that like 3 roster format, like that it's meant to be. But I mean, I like Dirty 30 still, and I think that I'm probably going to play a lot more like Dirty 30 builds than I am like hard timelines builds, where it lets me kind of keep the game and the power level to a place that, I get to play with some pieces that I like. And plus I think with like Dirty 30, it feels like playing like Commander Magic or something, where you're taking like the official format and then you're being like, well, what if we like toned it down and spliced it, reversed it, and made it into like something that's like basically the same game but a little different. Okay.
Yes, you got Steak Dinner here in the chat. What's the best way for other games to compete against GW when 40K is so dominant? And I don't really necessarily think if that's like a question to be asked of the game developer, but more so the community itself. I think that comes down to your community more than the game. And if you have a community that's welcoming and a community that helps each other and boosts each other, then people are going to flock to where they feel accepted, not getting trashed on, and people want to be supported when you're playing a game. You want to feel supported by the company and supported by your community. And if you could like foster that type of environment for your LGS and stuff like that, then that's how you're gonna get people to play your game over 40K. To be completely honest, in my completely opinion, not facts anyway here, but shape or form. But I feel like that's probably the closest thing I can say to how you could even compete with GW.
Yeah.
But GW's been around for what 50 years now, something like that.
They are well established. I think that's a huge part of what they have, and they're not. They are their own IP, so there's no like pros or cons as to what that IP is. Like you either like are in for that IP and in for that game, or you're not. And that's one of the things that 40K has going for it. That I would say that we got a lot of 40K players that kind of dabbled with us in Crisis Protocol during the sweatiest summer ever, because we were like playing out all the time, and it's a lot easier to look like you're having more fun than 40K players. It's like super easy to have more fun than 40K players when you're all playing in the same room, and so then they look over at you and they're like, "Whoa, what are those guys doing?" But it's really hard to break in on another game. Magic is another prime example of this. Like, how do you get to play like like Fab or Pokemon or whatever your other like card game is at your LGS when it's like Magic?
It's the community though. It's the community. It is the community, because look at Fab. Fab's biggest selling point is, or for a while anyways, it was the community. You have Vexium saying 40K IP is great. 40K game exists, sort of. Like I don't like a person, anybody can come in and they could say, here is a game with the most solid set of rules that you've ever played in your life, with the most amazing IP that you've ever heard of. You love the story, you love the mechanics of the gameplay, you love everything about this game. But if the only people at your LGS that play the game are a bunch of shitheads that just trash talk and don't help anybody out, and
trash
are
talk I can handle,
don't
but
do anything,
cheating's where we draw the line.
But yeah, but it's like you could have the best game in the world being played, but if the community isn't there, nobody's gonna play it.
Yeah, and so again, like timelines shouldn't be a line that we draw in the sand with each other. I'm saying that if you're a competitive player and you have like any inkling of like pushing yourself to like play better and explore the game on a different level than just measuring out what the best pieces are that you found so far. It's a part of it. Yeah, it's a part of it. But I mean, play other things, try new things. If you consider yourself a competitive player, try this timelines list and just try to play and build rosters using this and play it against whatever. Because I'm not going to draw a line in the sand and be like, oh, you don't play timelines? No, I only play timelines. I'm so sorry. I won't play. If you don't have 3 rosters to play with me, then you haven't done enough for this game and this community. No. I'm going to play you like whatever. I feel like if anything, this lowers the bar. And so like I'm no longer accidentally bringing some super busted stuff into you, unless when you're bringing X-Force.
Well, I think another big point to bring up here is, like, along the lines of like community, is if you want people to play timelines and they don't want to pay to get new models, like, well, I have a shit ton of models I have sitting on a wall over here. If you want to play Cabal, I got all of Cabal. You can play, man. Like, help. Like, that's what community is about. Is like, I understand some people don't want to like let people borrow their miniatures because they painted them. They don't want the accidents to happen.
Those people are.
But there's plenty of people out there.
They are not the norm. They're the exception, not the rule.
I've had more people, because like when I refused to buy Thanos for the longest time. I refused to buy Thanos for the longest time, and it was very much like I went to go play, and I was like, I gotta play Thanos, and they didn't have him, and like, hey, you can use mine, man, it's cool, and then I just destroyed everybody at the tournament with Thanos, and like, it's your Thanos, it's his fault. So yeah, it's just very much to me, it all comes back to community. It always comes back to community. You can have the best game in the world. If you have bad community, it's going to be a bad game. You can have the shittiest game in the world, but if the community supports each other and does it, and they do all this, then it's all of a sudden the best game in the world.
It's the friends we made along the way, right? Like that's like what everybody says. Like,
the journey.
I hate to say it, but it's one of those things where it's like the game you play is gonna refresh itself. If it doesn't die, it's going to refresh itself with some kind of frequency, and it has to, so that it stays alive. Like even like Magic, right? I'm sorry I keep referencing Magic. It's not like I kind of can't stand Magic, to be perfectly clear. But at the same time, it's a very long-standing game that has been running for a long time, and it's got a large community. And again, you meet good people in all of these communities. You'll always find bad apples, like Magic and 40K. I feel like it kind of like a bad rap for like just having bad apples, but it's like, well, there's just so many of them. Like those games are huge.
There's so much more
compared to anything else that we're playing. But I don't know. I referenced Magic, that I talked for a bunch of bullshit. I'm off topic. I don't even remember what I was talking about anymore. All I know.
Well, we got Steak Dinner saying, I feel like one thing I've run into a lot that hurts MCP is that it's hard to get games where both players are just doing tourney prep instead of casual fun lists. So it kind of comes on to people just want to be competitive and don't just play the game to have fun anymore. And this is something we've been talking about for pretty much since we started the pod. Like it's been like what's your why? That whole conversation and having that talk ahead of time, be like, hey man, I just want to play a casual game. I want to have fun. I want to play this janky ass Sentinels list. And
I think he's saying the opposite. I think he's saying it's hard to find like actual like directed practice games of MCP.
Oh, okay. Well, same thing, man. Just say, hey man, I want to beat the shit out of you, and I want you to bring your A game. I think back to when Joey came up here, prior to Nova.
Yeah.
We were like, hey, are you just trying to test some stuff out, or do you want to bring like a tournament list and like duke it out and see what we're doing? And it was very much like no, we're gonna bring our A game.
Oh no.
So
you were right. You were right. I was wrong.
Touche.
Aha. The same answer, man. It's very much like just talk to people. We say it all the time. Talk to the people at the store. Be like, hey, what type of game are you looking for? This is the type of game that I'm looking for. There's like 5 of us here. 2 of us are looking for competitive games, and then 3 of us are looking for casual. Well, maybe we just play a Ultimate Encounter for the casual people. The tournament-minded people can play a sweaty try-hard game where...
Yeah, but like when that's like... Yeah. I mean, like, let's add 2 people to this mix, right? And then it's like, well, okay, so Dizzard and I are going to do tournament prep, and then the other 3 guys are going to play the Ultimate Encounter. And it's like, well, like, that only works for so many weeks. And then I'm just like, I don't want to play Dizzard again. Like,
It does.
I want to be Thanos tonight.
No, it does.
Sorry, Joey. Tonight I'm Thanos. What if you have to play Dizzard?
But sometimes... I think it also comes to like worth conversation where it's like, sometimes you just gotta take a break from take your sweaty try-hard pants off and put some like not slacks, but sweatpants on and like play some freaking whatever the hell you want, fun stuff. Like take a break here and there so you don't just get overloaded. I think that's what killed you and me over the last year was we were just go. How the hell do we beat this meta? And then we just ran ourselves dry, and then we just.
I agree, and to Steak Dinner's point, I guess I got. How many tournaments did you actually go to last year? Like over the course of 2023, like how many actual like tournaments did you go to?
I think 10 or 11.
All right, that's pretty good. So like that, you were legitimately doing some level of tournament prep pretty consistently.
Yeah.
I went to far fewer.
Always. But you were playing every game like a tournament though. Is the thing.
Right, exactly. And I think that's
what I'm saying though is
like I was going to say that it's not even.
But you gotta.
My point is this delay is so fun.
Yeah.
So
the game in itself.
It is. It's like if you don't actually have an event that you're prepping for, don't worry about things so much. Right? Yep. Like don't forget to have fun. So, I mean, I agree. Like, take off the sweaty pants and put on some sweatpants, relax, and see where it goes.
Yep, I had to tell myself that a lot. There's a couple people that I played and like that's our focus. Is let's like bring your best thing and let's get after it. But I always get trapped in that mindset of when I'm preparing for a tournament, which was quite a lot this year. I probably went to like 20 or more this year. And it was always, there was never that space in between.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I don't have to worry about preparing a list or anything, so I'll just kick it. I was always bringing that, the heaviest list I could. But
I mean,
I think even going back to the timeline thing, if you find yourself in that rut, just only use these restrictions. Try that out. Just build a roster with just that. see how it plays. Because with with all the, I even saw a comment that was like, "Oh, MCP is dead, like RIP," and that's just so dumb to me. That was the dumbest comment I've read so far. It's just another format. It's just another format. And guess what? If you don't like it, you don't have to play it. Because it's not like it's going to be
Don't-
super common.
Well, that's my
anyways.
point. It's like if I'm on drugs, right? Like you don't have to be, right? Like you might not know that I'm on drugs.
Yikes, that escalated quick.
I mean, my point is like you can just play timelines, and like so long as like you're not like a vegan about it, where you're like hey, like
Yep.
I don't eat meat, so I gotta
Cool.
You
I
know,
do. Like,
yeah, right. Like, you don't have to broadcast, you don't have to judge, you don't
Hey,
have to do anything.
hey.
You're just like, hey, like
I play timelines. I ain't playing against Thanos. Get that shit off the table.
yeah, right, like that, like there you go, like that
You
is the
don't belong
equivalent that I'm talking about.
But
right there.
I think it's very much so. Like when we look at this conversation here, is be open. Like, yeah, you may be working on your timelines list, but what's to say you can't play your timelines against a standard list? Like, there's nothing that says you can't. Like, if you're just, especially if you're practicing, if anything, that gives you better practice because now you're taking a
That's-
timeline list into
Right.
something that's got Bill and Thanos and Malekith and all these like heavy hitters, and you're like, wow, I did really good in that game. So now I'm practicing above where the playing field is going to actually be for a timeline event.
Mhm.
Like that's my thoughts with this. I mean, my list is technically already a timelines list.
You're
so-
still getting good practice. I think the thing that you run into is that you're going to play into a lot different types of lists than you're going to play into in just a
Yeah.
timelines event. So you may not be getting
which is
like the actual focused
yeah.
practice for like timelines, because like, oh no, they're not rolling dice against me, I'm rolling a crap ton of dice against them, and they just like walk up and move me around. Like you're not having the same kind of like I think there's going to be like a bit of brawling to this. So I mean, like what do you guys think that timelines is going to be as a format after looking at this list? Like, are we brawling? Like, is this like every list needs to have an E in it, you know, so that like we're just playing like the same game round after round after round? Or are you building more specific, you know, lists? And
You kind of have to have an E, don't you?
I mean, you can.
You don't have to.
I mean, one of the things we talked about on the initial discussion of this was that like you can specialize 3 different rosters. So you can have like one that's like close attrition. You can have another one that's like spread out, you know, either control or attrition, and then something else that's going to be more of like a flip secure rumble in the jungle kind of roster, and have those, you know, like 3 different approaches baked in. Or you can start, you know, just mixing and matching and just bring in like 3 kind of all comers.
Oh, I got you.
I still think
I
it's
don't
3
know,
all
it's hard to
comers.
say. Yeah, I think, especially initially, with this first go around, you're probably better off just having like an all cover.
Or
At
if
least
you can
until we
make
see how everything
3
plays out.
very, very good control lists, that would be extremely powerful because there's not a whole lot of control in this character list.
Yeah.
So I don't know how
I'm
you're
probably
going to do
gonna
it,
end
but
up
if you
taking
do,
3
then,
X-Force lists in there.
yeah, that's the spirit. Let's go all mutants. That's
Oh
fine.
man! All right,
Yeah,
steak
there
dinner.
you
Thoughts
go.
on players who never paint their models and just buy whatever is meta hot. Meta hot.
I think he's talking about hyper.
We're a
That's all you
hobby
gotta do.
cast here, so. I think that honestly, this is like, in my opinion, largely not a problem I see a whole lot of in MCP.
No.
Yeah, but it's weird. I never thought about that until you just said this now. It's very rare that I go play MCP and the models aren't painted.
Yeah.
At least, you know, to some level. And if they're gray, it's because like they literally came out like, you know, in the last month.
That day.
And if that's chasing the meta and like what's meta hot, like new releases do tend to have a moment in the sun before they either like, you know, stick the landing or fade off into obscurity, like Carnage. But I do think that of all the games I've played, this one does not really suffer from meta hot gray everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's the scale of the game, too, which is great.
Yeah, skirmish games.
You only need 10 models.
Yeah, it's relaxing. Playing MCP is like hobbying MCP is pretty relaxing, so far as mini games go.
I agree.
Like sometimes I'll just like clip something off a sprue these days just to be like, it's just one, and you can just like take the whole thing from start to finish, like over the course of like a weekend. It's nice. I should have done that this weekend, but I didn't. Whoops.
I hate when we talk about painting because I still need to assemble my core box and everything. It's just sitting in the shipping box still. I don't, because I'm moving. Like, where am I gonna put it?
That's
like,
fair. Yeah. One last thing on the
RV.
gray is it the inclusivity,
Where am
right?
I
Is it like
gonna put
there's a message of inclusivity for gamers and gaming that goes on from this cast. So it's like, I don't care if your models are gray, like we play in. It's like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
like, are we playing?
I've
We're
played
playing. I
against
don't
tons
care
of
if they're
gray
playing.
rosters. I don't
Let's
care.
do this.
As long as you know the rules, I don't care.
Yep.
You can proxy cards too. I don't care about that either.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
Rich mentioned that earlier in
Yeah.
Zid chats. Like that's something that is, there's a balance there in my opinion, because we need to support the game. We need to support our local game stores. Capitalism sucks. This is like the end of the line for the world, and here we're just like hanging 10 off the edge playing minis games. But like I do think that there's a delicate balance there between like print and play and like just proxying off a 3D printer and proxying models from the game as different models in the game, because that can get confusing for players too, because like, oh well, this is old Thor but now it's new Thor, this is old Zemo but now it's new Zemo, and it's like, well, I'm really used to a certain set of rules, and I think that like that kind of muscle memory should be I don't know, given the right away to some extent. Like, this model represents something else, not what you're saying it represents. So
Yeah, there's definitely a time and place too.
I mean,
You're going to an event,
for sure.
you're probably not going to be doing too much proxying.
Yeah. Oh, for practicing for sure. Like, I don't. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
yeah. Okay. What is the biggest omission from timelines in your opinion?
Deception.
Ooh.
Boo.
So I feel like the logic behind Deception was maybe like, we only have 5 restricted cards right now. If we add Deception to the mix, then it's like encouraging people to be like, no, take Brotherhood for one of your rosters, period.
No, that was total sarcasm. I'm actually glad it's not in there because I'm still going to run Mystique.
Nice. There you go. I mean, I was
Yeah,
looking
I
at
love
her
Mystique
Punisher, and I was
leadership,
like, I still feel like maybe it depends on what you're looking for out of that piece.
Yep.
Like if Punisher's got a little more output, but like if you're just looking to blow up the occasional piece of terrain and have somebody stand on a point across the room, I think she's going to do a great job at that.
Oh yeah.
She's also an
Leadership's
interesting
sweet.
power battery too. Yeah, and she's got leadership.
Yep.
Dizzard, what's your omission?
losing Storm, Gambit, and Rogue is really weird.
That's yeah. I guess it's because Carol Danvers has all her powers or something. I don't know. Gambit's
Like,
MIA.
I'm pretty
I
bummed
don't know.
Ant-Man's not in there.
Yeah,
Oh, Ant-Man's not on here either.
Ant-Man's.
No,
That's also another weird one.
That was one.
I love
That
Ant-Man.
means Wasp ain't in here either. So no Wasp either.
Yeah, I really wanted Wong to stay. I understood that maybe Strange can't, even though he's like, living 6 blocks away from whatever is going down over in Manhattan. But I feel like at least we should have been able to keep Wong. But so be it. Mostly that's, just
And no
because
Inhumans.
Dizzard got everything, and I couldn't even keep Wong.
I got
for
everything.
my defenders list.
I got everything plus one. Like, yeah, but I guess my biggest thing is like no Rogue, Gambit, or Storm. It's just weird to me. Like, why?
Yeah, I mean, Storm's on Mars, right? So that's where some of the things, like, I don't know, like, what this timeline is, but it definitely, like, did feel heavy-handed. It was a deep cut from a heavy hand
Wait a second.
that
I wanna
carved
look at
out,
something
like,
real
the stuff
quick.
going
Want
on
to-
here in timelines.
No, I was
Yeah,
gonna
I mean,
say
it's-
because
you
like
don't know what the
Mexican
timeline
brought up
is.
the leadership.
So,
Mexican
okay,
brought up the leadership. I was like, well, maybe
this
they
is
made it
my
to where
actual
only
biggest
every.
omission. Sin is not in Cabal. So literally the only
God.
way to, not the only way, but to get her leadership on the table, like, she's not Cabal affiliated. So I guess you have to do the Two Shall Rise play that we built into that roster 2 weeks ago.
Oh, but so she's here in Hydra, just not in Cabal.
She's in timelines. She's just not Cabal. It's fine. I mean, it's purposeful, right? That's not an omission. I don't know. I thought that was hilarious because she's not Cabal, so she's not listed as a leader. I don't know if you're not listed as a leader for your affiliation. If you're not like in that affiliation, can you have a leadership for it?
That's a foreign question.
That is a foreign question. Yeah. I haven't asked.
Rich Smith, do you think Danvers? Do you think New Danvers is probably the biggest hitter in the new timelines list? No, it's I'd honestly say Ultron. New Ultron.
I'm curious to start playing Danvers myself.
I think he's great, but I just think
awesome.
because they're both 5 threats, aren't they?
Yeah.
But like Ultron comes with a grunt, and he's got a bow, and he could throw stuff, and he hits like a truck. So I would argue Ultron's probably the heaviest hitter. Magneto's still Mags though. Like
he's
still,
one of the heaviest hitters in the
both
game.
Of those, just no grunts.
That's fair.
He's one of the heaviest hitters in the game.
6 dice reroll any. That's fair. I mean, Cable basically has the same dice pool,
so you can murder.
Yeah, okay. I think that's a good top list. Danvers, She-Hulk, Ultron, Magneto. That's probably the heavy hitters list right there.
I mean, isn't that like literally the list of 5 and 6 threats that are in timelines? So I guess that's
except for Cable. Cable's not on there.
Oh, Cable, sure, and Juggernaut. Juggernaut's on that. You know,
Juggernaut's not really a heavy hitter though. He's just
No.
let me do what I want.
So,
I'd honestly, as far as this, no, I wouldn't put. I don't know if I'd put Cable in the heavy hitters list for this. I don't
he's
know.
just a good, consistent character.
Yeah, he's just consistent. Like he's consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, Gene. Oh,
All
Gene.
right. I think we can get into some listener questions. Oh, Gene. Yeah. Is she a heavy hitter though? Oh, you're about 5 threats in general.
Is she not? Because I mean, that's like she's rolling dice at you that are like maybe a little bit better than normal average dice. She's got a throw. She's got a terrain throw.
All right. From Accuser. With how balanced this appears to be at first glance, does it prove the devs love Cosmic Donny Cates characters too much?
Yes, I think it does. The fix is in. It was all Donny Cates' fault all along.
It's all Donny Cates' fault.
Oh yeah,
Daytread says, "What about Kinshala?"
Yeah, he's a 5.
Yeah,
I forget he's a 5.
All right. So here's my question to you guys then, because we didn't get that much questions. This episode's been a lot of questions though. But who is the affiliation that you could see helping people climb to the top in a timeline event? Only one. You only get one.
You go first. Let's just get this off.
Web Warriors.
Just... Oh, come on.
They have the most in-affiliation control out of this whole entire format.
I need to
And
look at the Avengers
they are
list,
probably the
but
hardest.
I kind of disagree
They are-
because Steve is literally turning on
Yeah, I
every
don't think
wild throw, every wild push, every wild anything. So I'll give you that with an asterisk. No Gwen.
Okay, so
It's a real
Vexium,
hard
no
sell.
Gwen hurts. Gwen, Rick brings up a good point. Sentinels have more control. They all have web line essentially, but like Vexium brought up like 3 affiliated steals. Like that's huge. Like
Sure.
they are extremely mobile. They are going to be the scenario kings of this format, from what I could tell right now.
But I mean, are they also maybe just like a
Rose got
3-person
two now.
splash? Like, are you literally
What's
just
that?
bringing like Miles, Black Cat, and
I think
Spider
that's going to
Woman?
be the issue with the timelines format is, are you just splashing in web warrior characters and now you can't run webs? Because is it better to just have one of those webs in each of your lists, or is it better to have a web warrior list? And I'd argue it's better to have each of your lists having one of those characters that fits best with your list currently.
I can see that. I can also see Spider-Woman kind of casting a pretty wide web, if you will, pardon the pun,
Ooh.
between running like a Webs Hydra shield combination or like an A-Force
Yep. I
shield
was just looking
Webs.
at because
where
Spectacular
you're
I don't know,
Spider-Man
like,
is good as well.
I just-
grab what you need.
I just feel like if I had to pick one affiliation from this entire list of affiliations, then I think Webs is probably the one that would be like the most well suited to like be like by themselves and be fine.
That's interesting. Okay, I mean that. I haven't looked at it from affiliations. I've looked at it from characters. Like Wolverine is spread kind of thin. You've got Avengers,
Yeah.
X-Men, X-Force, and Defenders. You have one Wolverine.
Yeah.
He has a
Mhm.
interesting home in all of those places. His output under cap is like incredibly consistent. His Defenders output is, you know, really good. Like maybe once when you need it or hope you were hoping for it, and then in X-Men he's getting power fed from Scott, and in X-Force he's getting that one reroll. So I mean he's got options, but in all of those places like you get one Wolverine. Are you bringing Wolverine?
Yeah.
Are you like does Wolverine make your timelines list? I think it's a question that you have to ask yourself. And then it's like, well, where does he go if he does?
Yeah. All right, Joey, who's your one affiliation?
I don't know, man. That's a tough one. It's tossed up between Brotherhood and Foes for me.
Actually, I think
honestly,
we'll rephrase this. Foes?
Foes is the affiliation
Okay, I think-
that I think has the most tools.
I think the best way to phrase this question though is like, what is the pillar of the game out of these affiliations? What's altering your list the most? I think that's the way I want to phrase this actually. And to me, it's still Webs.
Like, what do you mean by the pillar of the game? Like, you're playing
Like, you know
the
how we
most
say
control.
like if you gotta be ready for Syndicate, you gotta be ready for Thanos, you gotta be ready for this. Your list is altered drastically
Oh,
because
what's
of
your
these
gear check?
affiliations. Yeah, what's the gear checks? Like, what is the gear check of this affiliation list if you could only pick one affiliation?
Gotcha.
I'm sticking with Webs still though, because Webs makes me have to like consider a whole lot of stuff because I'm mainly attrition.
That's fair. I think that Foes are going to
Well, I think
jam a
Foes
game
is good with that question too.
oh,
enough.
this delay is just
All right.
money.
I don't even know why it's that bad tonight. It's like everything looks good, so whatever. It's okay. Michael Pena says Hydra.
Yeah, he does. He always says Hydra though, but I think that
He
that
always says
has
Hydra.
like at least as much to do with the player that he gets to play against as it does with like actual Hydra.
That's fair. Another one from Rich. Early days, but can you see any dual affiliation opportunities within a given roster?
X-Men and X-Force.
Nah.
Oh yeah.
I feel like there's a lot to explore there.
I already started that one. That's one of my rosters.
I think that Bros and Foes is something that keeps showing up on my
Bros,
radar.
bros and
Bros
foes.
and Foes. Bros and Foes duel. The old Bros and Foes duel. Foes and Bros. Bro Foes. Faux Bros?
Well,
X-Force Webs.
X-Force and Brotherhood too was another one I was toying around with.
Yeah. Colossus bridges the gap pretty well.
So the reason I like Bros and Foes is because it gives you access to Toad and Lizard. And Toad
Yeah.
and Lizard play amazing objective games. So that you basically know that you've got a premium objective game baked in with two different options. Technically three different options for solid leaderships. Because what Ock gives Toad is sickening. And what Lizard can do under Magneto or Mystique is pretty great.
Or Mystique. Yep. It's amazing.
All right. I don't think I would duel. I don't know. I've really gone away from dual affiliating because I always make
Oh, wow.
mistakes when I duel.
Like last week,
So-
you were all about the
Timeline
duels
seems
for
like a
this.
sweet spot to do duels, though. I'm normally the other way around. I don't like doing dual affiliated and regular MCP, but
The more
this
I-
one seems kind of neat.
Yeah. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, every time I dual affiliate, I make a mistake, and that's what cost me like a good placement in the event. Like
You played Hellfire, man. That's like
I had to put
Infinity
so much
affiliation.
restraint in my decisions. Like I was like, I want to play X-Force here. but my criteria says Hellfire Club. Okay, fine. Like I can't duel.
I think that
Oh,
A-Force
man.
has a lot of interesting value that might be easy to overlook to start with. I think that special delivery has a lot of value in Timelines format because it lets you do like anything that's going to give you extra action economy is almost always an amazing thing to add into the mix for yourself. And special delivery is giving you effectively a move and an attack for free.
Yeah.
And it's not always just about dropping a She-Hulk hammer on something. It's about repositioning. It's about, just options that you can open up. I mean, you're literally moving a bodyguard into the middle of the table or away from the middle of the table. So I think that A-Force has some interesting play. I think Danvers is a really dicey but like good piece. Like the fact that she has her charge and her throw just online so quick and easy almost all the time, like turn 2. Carol's in a great spot to come and wreak havoc on you. And if she's bringing She-Hulk with her, I think that that's something you're not going to get anywhere else in this Timelines setup. I think there's a lot of power there.
Absolutely. All right. Is there any closing thoughts that you guys have?
I'm pumped. Play it. Quit being a baby about it. That's my thoughts.
I'm going to play some Timelines rosters. I'm going to play using the Timelines like sheet because why wouldn't you? I mean,
yeah,
like
it's different, man. Just do it. It's if you don't like it, don't do it, man. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and and I mean that's a dangerous statement though, because like if nobody wants to do it, then like the format just doesn't get any traction at all, and then we're all like this like weird secret.
No, I'm saying
cult of...
play it first before you decide to. Just
okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, give it its fair shot. And
Try
I think the biggest thing I have to say again is like stop shitting on it. Like if you don't like it, then cool. You don't have to you can just shut up and not tell people that they're dumb for wanting to play this type of event. I don't know how else to put it, but it's true. I don't want to be a dick, but I'm being a dick about it. It's just like I'm tired of reading the comments of how like this is a terrible format. AMG's making mistakes. Like this is bad. Like if you don't like it, then you don't have to say it. Like I don't care.
And all those people haven't played it yet. That's the thing you gotta first think about.
If you complain about power pieces in this game, in
you're saying
person or online, and you do not want to play Timelines, I don't understand your perspective. If you don't want to play Timelines because you don't get to play with the pieces that you like, well, like I get that. But if you're a competitive player, you've had to make sacrifices. You've had to make decisions that you didn't want to make in games, at roster construction, on turn 0, constantly to make up for the competitive game. You were just making concessions left and right for whatever you have to do to beat a competitive meta. So why wouldn't you want to play in the format that doesn't have any of the pieces people are currently complaining about? Are people going to complain about Professor X? Well, I absolutely guarantee it. We're gamers. We're going to complain about anything that like rises remotely close to being cream of the crop. But if you complain about power pieces in this game and you don't want to play Timelines, I do not understand your perspective. Period.
With that, we have been the Rogue Agents, and according to Joey, you have been the babies.
Perfectly balanced. Resolve
Maximum effort.
In this world, there's no surrender.
You don't like a fair fight. He's out of line, but he's right.
Who the hell is Bucky? I think you're wrong. Which part? All of it.
I think you're the
The outro is so long.
Was that a little? What, was that a little rough? You have been the babies. That's too hard.
Dude,
I mean, it's all in good
fucking
fun,
love it.
right? It's all in good. It's all in good fun. Don't at me.
Yeah. The greatest fun.
Ah,
Fucking babies.
Oh man.
I just give it a chance. Let it have some fun.
Yeah, that's my
mean-
thing. Dude, another thing is,
What if I
to
wanna-
me,
what if
you
I
know,
wanna
it
be
kinda
a
just
baby?
dawned on me.
I don't know.
Hey, go
Like,
for it, dude.
I understand if your favorite character's not in the game. Like literally, like I'm a Thanos fanboy. Like Cosmic Ghost Rider was a piece that I was so excited to see come into the game, and then he got here. Like I knew who Malekith was before he was announced. I wouldn't say he was like my favorite character or anything. He was this like random glam rock villain from Thor. You know, like,
That's why he's so cool, though. Like, that's why I love him, is because he's like one of those. He's not really a deep cut. Like, if you know Thor, he's not a deep cut. But
Right.
if you don't know Thor, he is a deep cut. But like you're not wrong. Like this, like glam and death metal is Malekith, and that's why I love him. Like,
he's like I'm
man.
black metal
Yeah.
on this side, and I am glam.
yeah, it's so fucking cool. Like I
All
love
the,
I love Malekith's character. I just man, I do wish though that they went like evil sorcerer Malekith, not riding the bog tiger, kill everything in sight Malekith. Like, I wish he was like the magic wielding Malekith.
Yeah, same. I mean, he is. He has
They
a
might make another one.
nightmare
Who
blade
knows?
or something.
Nightmare Phantasmagoria Blade.
Just wait till we get Gore in the game, get Gore the God Butcher in the game,
That's
man.
what I'm ready for
That
that, man.
that honestly, Malekith's initial rules that could have been Gore the God Butcher easily.
100%.
Like,
Oh, I mean,
His
I feel
name
the same
is
way
the
about
God
Skull.
Butcher.
Hydra Skull, like could have been Doctor Doom,
Yeah.
and nobody would have like been like, "How dare you?"
potatoes.
Like, oh, he's only a 5 threat. Like, ah, well, shucks. Yeah. Sorry, I guess you can run. places.
Yes. Good times.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was good. I'm excited. I really, I know I talk about it. I do actually think Webb's is actually in a really interesting spot when it comes to this.
I agree.
But then
I'm
I think
curious,
they,
yeah.
I think they take the hard route though, where it's like, are you better off just splashing in Miles in one list, Spider Woman in another list, and then Cat in another
thought the
list? I
same.
think
Yep.
that might be like their like
Maybe.
stone in the water.
I think you can also look at because Spectacular Shield, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think that
So does Spider-Woman.
Webb's Shield is an interesting like duel. I think that Webb's Defenders is another interesting one. Like they don't have the overlap that they have
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
like the standard affiliation list, but bringing in Luke Cage, bringing in like maybe even Iron Fist in this format is going to be pretty bonkers.
Yeah.
Like that seems like you're going to
You
have
know-
some cool
You know what's
tech.
even crazier? And let me tell you why X Force is actually the true like legit here. So X Force, in my opinion, has some of the
Show notes.
biggest centerline pressure in the game. And Eyes is gone, and X-Men doesn't have first class or the Storm Hop, so there is no safe grab.
Oh no, I'm out activating you.
Except Toad.
Like that's
Toad's
Except
as
for
safe
Toad.
as it gets.
Toad under Ock.
or Jugs.
If he
under
doesn't
Mystique.
get one shot, he's getting away.
Yeah, but
Jugs
it's
under
very
Mystique
much
is so
like
good.
X Force has so much centerline pressure. I guess Mystique and safe grab, fair enough. I'll give you that one. But like it's so few and far between in this that X Force is just gonna be able to say, I'm just gonna commit to killing you on the center line and not worry about like any of this. I think X Force is gonna be a strong contender in this.
Well, I
format.
mean, so are F's on the menu? That was something we didn't talk about in like the main show that I did kind of want to like touch on. Is it like you F's? This list of characters kind of puts F's on the menu again
maybe.
Oh yeah.
because
Which
like,
also
for-
speaks to Webs. It speaks to Webs more too.
yeah, but like
Like-
the things
Yeah,
that
of
it like
course.
really spoke to Webbs about, like they don't actually have. Like ASM was a huge part of what they were
Yeah,
able
true.
to do with like the F shape. I don't know. Toad and Lizard. When I saw that both Toad and Lizard are there, I was like, dang. Like so those you put those in the same roster and you create very interesting scenarios on B maps and on the center line. So I think that those are interesting. think you
Yeah.
probably want them together to put that extra pressure. I think Hydra's an interesting place for both of them to go. And I also think
Sounds really good in foes too.
yeah, and Foes is the other one, and that's where like the Foes and Bros thing comes in.
Foes and bros. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up so I can edit and get it posted and then
Okay.
all this stuff. But it's been fun. Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Yes, indeed.
All right.